Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today we are looking at Competency 11. This is everything that has to do with stakeholder involvement. We'll move from the why to the how of building professional relationships. So let's look at who are our stakeholders. Stakeholders are anyone with a vested interest in student success. If the school thrives, the community property value goes up, the local workforce improves, teachers are happy, staff are happy, students are happy. So we have those individuals that would be considered internal stakeholders, and then we have external stakeholders, which could be like extended family, business, and government. Could be alumni. It could even be sororities and fraternities or civic organizations. So, the first contact strategy, think about the very first time you get your class roster. The moment you get your class list, the clock starts. Your very first message to the parents or guardians should never be about a problem. It should be an introduction of a partnership. Because let's face it, you are partnering with those parents or guardians to do the best that you can with those students. And it is a partnership, and you want to include them as much as possible, give them faith and trust in you, and include them in what's happening in your class. So let's think about who these stakeholders are. Primary stakeholders, again, are students, parents and guardians, teachers. Secondary stakeholders could be extended family, administrators, school boards, support staff. Then you have your community people, local businesses, civic organizations, alumni, even the taxpayers. And so we need to think about taking a proactive approach to communication. Positive phone calls home before any issues arise. And you also want to be transparent. So you want to share your data and your decision making processes and let parents know what's happening in the class. You also want to identify what skills that your stakeholders could offer you and your class or to the school. So let's come back to this first contact strategy. You've got your first class roster. Now you need to script a welcome or introductory paragraph introducing yourself to your new stakeholders. Now, are you going to do this in a text, an email, or a video? It also depends on what your school has and in the form of communication. Some school districts have it where every teacher has their own uh, class website. And so, if that's the case, you might want to post a little message, make a little flyer about who you are, or even make a video and post it there. Otherwise, you could send emails out. You could send text messages, although I would be careful about making sure that everybody has your cell phone number. You could utilize the school phone messaging system, but I would caution you about giving your cell phone number to all your parents. But whether you use an app or a plain email or anything of that nature, make sure you find something to contact your parents on a regular basis. Now, also another note about email is that when you send one email and you are trying to copy and paste all your parent or guardian emails, make sure you put those emails in the BCC, the blind carbon copy. You don't want to give everybody's email address. Some people will not like that. Okay, so again, let's talk about frequency. How often are you going to send home notes or information about what's going on in your class? This also it depends on what your school does. Your school may send home weekly folders, in which case you can drop a flyer or a note or something in there. It could be, occasional monthly parent meetings. It just also depends on what your school has set up for the school year, but you can always do more. Again, what methods, what apps? Remind, Class Dojo, GroupMe, traditional phone calls, face to face, flyers, email, and then also make sure that it is accessible. If you have students whose first language is not English, then you need to make sure that you plan ahead so that you can send your flyer, your voice message, your email to the translation service either in your campus or in your school district, so that they can translate it properly for you. I would also caution you about using your own translation things like Googling it or something, because you just never know how things are going to come out in context, and you want to be careful that you're being respectful. All right, so let's leverage the community. Who are your stakeholders? What civic organizations are around the perimeter of your school? What local stores, restaurants, what higher education facilities are nearby? What do you need? Do you need mentorships? Do you need class sponsors? Do you need tutors? Do you need field trips, chaperones? Do you need guest speakers? What could you need? And then think about the people around you. And I would also say that once you get your class list and you're making contact with your parents, ask them what they do. You may have want to have a career fair, or you may want to utilize one of your parent or guardian's expertise, or even if they're a stay-at-home mom, they love to bake cookies and cupcakes and things that you might need for a treat, or who knows what you could utilize them for. Be creative, think outside the box. All right, so in conclusion, we want to make sure that we do create a stakeholder involvement plan. We want to try to utilize our stakeholders as much as we can. This is a living document, so it will change. You can add to it, you can take away from it. You can even put the school year that the students are with you, and keep a larger list, because you may have parents or guardians from a few years ago that still love helping. I know people that their children got out of the band years later, but they're still coming back to volunteer. So you'll want to keep people's contact, and especially if they have a servant heart. All right, so get out there and draft your stakeholder involvement plan, and I'll see you next time in class.